Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Welcome to the Trillion Dollar Tickers broadcast. I'm your host, Matt Riches. This is your pre-market briefing for Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. This morning's labor data just reset the tone. Stronger than expected job growth, firmer wage pressure, and a lower unemployment rate suggest resilience in the labor market, but also keep inflation and Fed expectations squarely in focus. Today is shaping up to be a session where interpretation of strength matters more than the headline itself. This show is for education and entertainment only. Always do your own research, but you can use this show as a foundation. Let's get into the mantra. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve the wealth that I'm building for me and my family. Riches and freedom, they come to our hands. I am the master of all I command. My learning is limitless. My earnings are too. The more I discover, the more I can do. The stock market is a machine of design, and I have the power to make that wealth mine. I am capable. I am skilled. I am bold. Blessings on the journey as the vision unfolds. Okay, so let's check out the macro data that we talked about earlier. So the average hourly earnings month over month came in at 0.4%. It was forecasted to be 0.3%. This signals a firmer wage pressure and could keep inflation concerns elevated. The non-farm employment change came in at 130K. It was forecasted at 66K. This points to stronger job creation than expected. And then the unemployment rate came in at 4.3%, and it was forecasted to be 4.4%. That suggests the labor markets remain tight. Overall, the labor market remains resilient. Strong employment supports growth, but wage pressure may complicate the Fed's path. Okay, let's check out some of the earnings that we had after market close yesterday. We had Robinhood. They beat on earnings, but they missed badly on revenue, and it's down since market close yesterday. It's down almost 8%. And then Lyft beat very well, dramatically, outstandingly on earnings, over 5,000% beat, but it missed terribly on revenue by almost 9%. So Lyft is down from yesterday's close, is down 16%. And then Upstart, a small miss on earnings, and it beat on revenue by 2%. And it ran up right after the announcement, but it ended up falling after the market closed yesterday, and it's currently just 2% down from yesterday market close. And then in the pre-market, we had Shopify, small beat on the top and bottom, but this thing is moving nice off these earnings. So yesterday it closed at 127. It's currently up 10% in the pre-market. And then we have T-Mobile. T-Mobile, bad miss on earnings by 7%. Small beat on revenue. And it's down. Yesterday it closed at 199. It's currently at 4% down. And then after market close today, we have McDonald's, AppLovin, Cisco, HubSpot, and Fastly. All right, next, let's get into Robert Greene's law. I'm going to put Bitcoin back on the screen. Okay, let's get into Robert Greene's law for today. Everything worth doing has a learning curve. When it gets hard, remember the goal. Reaching the cycle of accelerated returns. The idea is simple. Real skill comes from repetition and practice. Whether it's riding a bike or learning a language, you improve by doing, not by studying theory alone. Over time, practice becomes easier, then it becomes interesting, then it becomes reinforcing. That's the cycle of accelerated returns, where skill builds confidence, confidence builds repetition, and repetition builds mastery. Long term investing works the same way. At first, studying companies and understanding balance sheets feels slow and complex, but over time, pattern recognition improves, valuation frameworks become clearer, emotional reactions fade. Eventually, compounding knowledge mirrors compounding capital. The process becomes easier and more powerful. Trading has a steep learning curve. Early on, volatility feels overwhelming. Discipline feels restrictive, but repetition builds fluency. Risk management becomes instinctive. Entries and exits become structured. Once traders reach an accelerated return cycle, improvement speeds up, skill feeds confidence, and confidence feeds consistency. The goal isn't comfort, it's competence. Okay, in overnight markets, the Asian session, the The markets traded mixed overnight, reacting cautiously to global growth signals and U.S. labor strength. Technology and export-heavy sectors showed selective movement. The London session, European markets opened slightly lower, digesting strong U.S. employment data and positioning ahead of major U.S. earnings after the close. Traders appear measured, rather than aggressive. Okay, so labor markets are strong, wage pressure is firm, earnings reactions remain selective and unforgiving. Today is about understanding strength, not chasing it. Respect the learning curve. Let repetition build skill. Let discipline guide execution. This is Trillion Dollar Tickers. All right, let's get into the market caps. So the market caps for our $1 trillion tickers: Nvidia 4.59 trillion, Apple 4.02 trillion, Google 3.85 trillion, Microsoft 3.07 trillion, Amazon 2.22 trillion, TSM 1.87 trillion, Meta 1.69 trillion, ABGO 1.61 trillion, Tesla 1.59 trillion, Berkshire B 1.07 trillion, and Walmart 1.01 trillion, y'all. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. You know, I'm producing the show and I'm the talent at the same time, so I got to do a whole bunch of stuff. But I appreciate y'all taking the time to wait. Let me just put a good morning in the chat. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, here we go. Okay, let's check out our $1 trillion tickers. Nvidia's up in the pre-market. Google, not much movement. Apple's up in the pre-market. Microsoft's up in the pre-market. Market's about to open, so we'll get to it once the market opens. Get ready, y'all. Let's go. Market open, market open. Let's go. The market is open February 11th, 2026. The market is open. Let's see what we got. We got an alert on Tesla. We got a buy from the level up algo. We'll get to it. All right, so Nvidia is up 1.8% at 192.15. Google is up almost 0.5% at 319.80. Apple is up almost 1% at 276.22. Microsoft is up 0.5% at 415. Amazon is up 0.5% at 208.10. TSM is up. Ooh, TSM is up 2.5%, y'all. TSM hitting all-time highs right now at 371.63. AVGO is up over 1% at 343.74. Meta is up almost 0.75% at 675. Tesla just got a buy signal on the daily, but we gotta wait until the candle closes, so we'll see. But it's currently up over 1.5% at 432. Berkshire B is barely over break even at 553 cents. And then Walmart is up 0.25% at 127.05. All the $1 trillion tickers are green, y'all. This has been keeping that way all day. I wonder if that has to do with the job numbers that came out. All right, let's check out some of the news, y'all. See what we got. Okay. This is from Walter Bloomberg on Twitter. He said, JP Morgan says AI fears are overdone in software. The sell-off in software stocks is overblown, driven by unrealistic fears of near-term AI disruption. Strategists recommend rotating back into high-quality AI-resilient names. They cite strong fundamentals, high switching costs, and positive earning trends, naming Microsoft and CrowdStrike as beneficiaries. With 2026 earnings growth forecast near 17%, the team sees a rebound opportunity. Shout out Microsoft, man, for the bounce back. This is from Unusual Whales. Elon Musk pours millions more into helping Republicans keep Congress. This is per Politico. Okay. This is Dan Ives' quick clip, y'all. Check it out.
Of the AI revolution. I think the hearts and lungs of the AI revolution will be in software. Now, look, right now it's data center build out, GPUs. I mean, you're still in the early days of this, it's going to be a 10-year build out. But software is going to be key to the use cases. I mean, it goes to our point. If you look at Palantir, and ultimately followed by Snowflake and Mongo, in my opinion, to say Salesforce and ServiceNow are structurally broken companies, to me, look, in my career, I think it's the most disconnected call that I've ever seen. Investors thinking that software is not going to play a huge part of the AI revolution.
There's another person that feels like software, they was tripping for selling it off like that. All right, let's get it, y'all. Let's get it next. This is from Bank of America warns of bubble-like price action in materials and commodities. Bank of America added U.S. material stock to its list of assets showing bubble-like behavior alongside gold, silver, and South Korea's Kospi. U.S. equities and mega-cap tech remain relatively stable. Using its new bubble risk indicator, which is BRI, Bank of America says client interest is strong and will now publish weekly updates highlighting frothy areas. The bank warns AI-driven innovation could fuel more unstable bubble-prone markets. Separately, Bank of America notes unusually high return dispersion in European stocks, especially in tech and basic resources, despite muted index-level gains. All right, so Bank of America coming out with that, y'all. All right. I thought this was interesting about Chipotle. Check it out.
That core consumer, I heard you on the earnings call a little while ago, about a week. 60% of that your customer base earns over $100,000 a year, average household income. Are we just at a point in the economy where that consumer, if you make over $100,000, Hey, you just need some free food.
No, I think there's a bit of misinformation that's been communicated over the last few days. What I said distinctly on the earnings call is that 60% of our consumers' average household income is over $100,000 a year, and they're still spending in this tough economy. So we're going to lean into those consumers with brand innovation, menu innovation, and really give them more compelling reasons to come in. But we cater to everyone in all lifestyles, Brian. If you make under $100,000 a year, our entry point on our high protein menu is at $3.50. And then it scales up from there. You can get a side of protein for just $3.80. So we feel like we have an offering for everyone, no matter where you come from or your lifestyle or your household income.
What? He said your entry point for a high protein meal is $3.50? I can't buy nothing for $3.50 at Chipotle. What the hell is he talking about? Next. Okay, Wall Street Journal Business News says Innovent Biologics strikes a partnership deal with Eli Lilly. Oh, this is interesting because this is a Chinese company. Give me 1 second. All right. So this is Eli Lilly's 7th partnership. And they are partnered to jointly develop novel cancer and immunology drugs, with Innovent leading early stage trials in China and Lilly securing global rights outside Greater China. The agreement provides Innovent $350 million upfront, potential milestones up to $8.5 billion, and royalties, driving an 8.6% surge in its Hong Kong listed shares on the day of the announcement. The deal underscores growing U.S.-China biotech collaborations amid efficient R&D in China, contributing to a 9% year-to-date rise in the Hang Seng Biotech Index despite geopolitical tensions. So they still doing deals, y'all. They still do. They might have something going on with the chips and stuff with China, but when it comes to this biotechnology, Eli Lilly is still doing deals in China, and they not tripping. All right, next. Hyundai and its robotic unit of Boston Dynamics showed a robot sticking a landing after doing a backflip. If you are on YouTube, you can actually see this.
A landing after attempting a cartwheel and a backflip. Look at that. Hyundai unveiled the robots last month at the Consumer
It was pretty amazing. So basically, it did like that. What's it called? What is it called when they do that? A cartwheel. It did a cartwheel and then landed on both feet and then did a backflip and then landed cleanly. Man, that thing ready to be out in the real world right now. That thing is more athletic than 90% of the people walking around. I can't even do a damn backflip, and I'm in great shape. And so the robot is in better shape than me, y'all. Shout out to Hyundai and Boston Dynamics for creating such an agile robot. Can't wait till they're walking around. All right, next. This is from Bernie Sanders. Amazon said it's going to replace 600,000 workers with robots. Other companies are moving in the same direction. How will working families feed their kids and pay their bills? We got to fight back. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they bought some robots from Boston Dynamics, since they're doing cartwheels and backflips now. But yeah, Amazon I think they already got 1 million robots working right now. So another 500,000 plus. Yeah, we are in the future, y'all. The thing is, it's like there's going to be that time in between the robots taking all the jobs before they actually give out universal basic income. Elon said it's going to be high universal basic income, but it's going to be that time. Like, we don't know how many years it's going to be, but it's going to be a certain amount of years. And if we are not prepared, those years are going to be very, very stressful. But if we're somebody who's able to keep our jobs, and it's only a short time between getting our jobs taken by robots and high universal income taking over, then we'll be okay. But it's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of people who have to wait years after getting their jobs taken by robots before that universal basic income comes out. And that can cause a revolution, rioting. That can turn crazy for sure. So we don't know how long that time frame is going to be, but the longer it is, the more likely we're going to have an uprising. And they know it. So they trying to figure it out themselves. But just know that they're going to know exactly how long it's going to be before the people start going crazy in the streets. All right, next. Let's check out the sectors. See what we got. Sectors. XLK. Let me go on a 1 minute chart. XLK is up almost 1% at 143.83. That's our technology sector. Our consumer discretionary sector is up over 0.25% at 118.70. It looks like it rejected the gap and now it's coming back down. Okay, XLC, our communication sector, is down over 0.5% at 116.86. XLF, our financial sector, is down almost 0.25% at 53.42. XLV is down fractionally. This is our healthcare sector to 155.09. XLP is up 0.25% at 87.37. XLE, our energy sector, is up 2% at 54.67. XLU is up 0.25% at 44.32. XLI is up almost 1.5% at 176.41. This is our industrial sector. XLB, our material sector, is up over 0.5% at 53.25. And XLRE is up almost 0.25% at 42.93. Shout out to everybody on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. All right, let's check out some of our other tickers. SPX is up over 0.25% at 6,974. SPY is up almost 0.5%. The NAS 100 is up over 0.5% at 25,300. QQQ is up almost 0.75%. The Dow Jones is up 0.25% at 50,356. The Dow Jones ETF is up over 0.25%. The VIX is at 1710. 10-year Treasury note is at 418, y'all. Gold is over 5,000. Gold is trading at $5,040 an ounce. The gold mini is at $99.80. Silver is up 3.25% at 75.82. The copper miners ETF is up over 2%. Bitcoin is down 2.25% at 67,240, y'all. IBIT is down over 2%. Ethereum is down almost 3%. BMNR is down to fractionally at 1993. AMD is up 2.25%. AMD is touching the gap, y'all. AMD is touching the gap. It's at 219. Palantir is down almost 1.75% at 137.22. And Robinhood is collapsing, y'all. Robinhood is down 9% at 77.34. Sheesh. I thought they was gonna do good on earnings. They did not. I still believe it. I still believe in it for the long term, though, for sure. All right, let's check out some more news. This is from Walter Bloomberg on Twitter. Tesla's semi-long range is priced at $290,000. Tesla's 500-mile semi-long range is quoted at $290,000, up approximately 60% from the original $180,000 price promised almost 10 years ago. The standard range, which is 325 miles, is listed around $260,000. Despite the increase, Tesla undercuts the average Class 8 electric truck, which is priced at $435,000 by about $145,000. The Semi offers 500 miles of range, 1.2 megawatts peak charging, 1.7 kilowatts per mile efficiency, and 3 800 kilowatt motors. Volume production is expected this year, with California HVIP vouchers and Uber freight discounts helping reduce effective costs. Tesla positions the Semi as competitive versus diesel trucks, with payback in approximately 4 years for local distribution, y'all. So that price sounded crazy until we found out the competition was priced almost at $500,000. Shout out Tesla, man. Get the things on the road. Let's get these numbers up. All right. Speaking of Tesla, Elon Musk said this. Most of the child victims were turned into traffickers by Epstein after the age of 18. By making them commit crimes with him, Epstein ensured their silence more than any NDA possibly could. They should be offered amnesties in order to testify. Oh, that's deep. That's deep. That is conniving. Damn, oh my God. And he had this island for 20 years. They was raping kids. Excuse me. They was sexually assaulting children for 20 years on Epstein Island. All these rich folks, all these people with power, that's what they want to do. That just shows that just because you're rich, that don't make you a good person. Damn. Terrible. Throw them all in jail. Throw them all in jail. But I was listening to this lady. She said one of the Congress people that came out and said after he read some of the names on the files that it was so many people in Congress that were named that the government would just collapse if all them people went to jail at the same time. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to do something. Because that is terrible. All right. Next piece of news from Earn Your Leisure. Billionaire investor Mike Novogratz says crypto's age of speculation may be over. So it's like previously, all right, let me check it out. Mike Novogratz, CEO of Galaxy Digital, stated at a recent industry event that cryptocurrency's age of speculation is ending, driven by institutional investors favoring lower risk assets like tokenized real world assets over high volatility trades. This comes amid Bitcoin's 23% year to date decline and a 45% drop from its October peak in 2025, signaling a market shift from retail hype to a more mature regulated adoption, with expected returns dropping to 15 to 20% annually. So the crazy gains that made a lot of people millionaires and billionaires are no longer in the future. Is that what he's saying? The age of speculation is over. And because the institutions have bought so much, it's not going to have the same growth. That is interesting. That's an interesting take on Bitcoin. We should definitely listen to him because he bought a lot early and he made billions. So let's keep that in mind, y'all. All right, Zuckerberg. This is from Yahoo Finance. Zuckerberg is the latest billionaire to leave California. I think I have a list on another clip. All right, next. The FCC said today that it has approved Amazon's request to deploy 4,500 satellites. The FCC's approval brings the size of Amazon's planned constellation of low Earth orbit satellites to roughly 7,700, y'all. You're trying to compete with Elon and SpaceX and Starlink. All right. This next piece of news comes from Unusual Whales. Billionaire investor Mark Cuban has said he believes a recession is imminent. Yes, Mark, but when? Is it going to be this year or is it going to be next year? That's what we need to know so we can prepare. That is not enough information. We all agree that a recession is going to come, but when? When is it going to come? Let's see. Robinhood now has a total of $324 billion in assets on its platform, up $63 billion, up from $63 billion in 2022. That is a phenomenal growth trajectory right there, y'all, for Robinhood. And the price, and it's down 10% today, so it's definitely a good buy. I don't know how low it's gonna go, but that type of growth is phenomenal. Okay, next. OpenAI predicts a $14 billion loss in 2026. Okay, next. It now takes more than 11 weeks for an unemployed person in the U.S. to find a new job. That's the longest since 2021, y'all. All right. Let's run the numbers. Let's check out some of these ETFs we like to look at on the show. IWM is down fractionally at 265.98. SPYM is up almost 0.5%. QQQM is up over 0.5%. SPYG is up over 0.5%. SOXQ is up 2.5%, y'all. TQQQ is up almost 2%. SOXL is up 7.6%. SOXX is up 2.66%. XLG is up almost 0.5%. The IVES ETF is up almost 0.5%. SPYI is up over 1/4%. And QQQI is up over 0.5%, y'all. All right. Let's see. BlackRock's Larry Fink said that global capitalism is eroding public trust as its gains have not been broadly shared and too many people feel left behind. Man, it always been like that, man. What you talking about? It's always been a few rich people and mostly poor people. We've been not trusting y'all. Ain't nothing new. Fink, ain't nothing new. Okay, this is from Walter Bloomberg on Twitter. He said, Trump considers quitting his own trade deal. President Donald Trump is privately weighing whether to exit U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, the USMCA, the trade pact he signed during his first term, according to people familiar with this matter. He has asked aides why he shouldn't withdraw, though he has not made a final decision. White House and trade officials say he is keeping options open while seeking tougher terms, including stronger rules of origin, labor protections, and safeguards against dumping. The agreement faces a mandatory review by July 1st. If renewed, it will last another 16 years. If not, it could trigger annual reviews or full withdrawal with 6 months' notice. Trump has already increased pressure on Canada and Mexico with tariff threats and trade disputes. Any U.S. exit would disrupt roughly $2 trillion in annual trade and could trigger retaliation, raising costs for businesses and consumers. While Trump has recently called the pact irrelevant, he has also previously praised it and suggested he may use the threat of withdrawal as a leverage rather than actually leaving. Trump is crazy, y'all. All right. Next, Moderna says the FDA refuses to review its application for an experimental flu shot. I agree. Refuse it, FDA. After you allowed everybody to get that COVID shot and people still caught COVID multiple times. You lied to the people. All right. This next piece of motivation comes from Wallow267. He said, growth is accepting that you were wrong and choosing better anyway. Play the music, Siri. What is you doing? Siri just cut off my music. I didn't even say Siri. I just read Wallow's quote. There we go. It's back on. These instrumentals are brought to you by Matt Rich's 510 AI Music. If you know any musicians that need some beats, I got them fire beats and I got a better price than what they paying right now. I guarantee it. All right. Oh, so man, it's a crazy outbreak in measles right now. Can you believe this? Check it out. This is from Uncle Charles on Twitter. He said, so they are now pleading with people to get the measles vaccine after leading them down the wrong path for over a year. Measles was eliminated in 2000, and now we have confirmed cases in 20 states, 900 cases in South Carolina. Many doctors have no experience treating it because it was gone. That is crazy. 900 cases of measles in South Carolina. These cases are in 20 states. The measles is back, y'all. All right, it's Black History Month, so let me get into it. So if you can see on the screen here, this, if you're watching on YouTube, it is a timeline when American slavery began, when segregation began, and where we are now. This timeline is worth revisiting often. American slavery lasted nearly 250 years. When it ended in 1865, freedom did not immediately translate into equal rights. What followed was almost 100 years of segregation, enforced through laws and social systems that shaped daily life across generations. Segregation was not fully dismantled until the mid 1950s. This matters because history doesn't exist in isolation. The effects of long-standing systems do not disappear overnight or quickly at all. There are people alive today whose parents and grandparents lived through segregation, making this history far closer than people like to act like it is. Progress came through persistence, through organizing, legal challenges, education, and sustained civic engagement. Change required effort, time, and commitment from those who refuse to accept inequality as permanent. Sharing reminders like this isn't about assigning blame. It's about preserving context. Understanding timelines helps explain why certain conversations still matter and why historical awareness remains relevant today. When history isn't revisited, it is often misunderstood. Remembering it accurately helps inform the present and shape a more informed future. That's right, we ain't been free that long. So, and we still not free completely, because the prison system is the new slavery. Paying people, okay, in slavery they wasn't paying nothing, but in prison they paying 10 cents an hour. So how far are we away from slavery for real? And it's like, yeah, we're not doing good as a community because we're not that far away from slavery. How much progress do you expect us to make in such a short period of time? I know technology is progressing very quickly, but slavery is still going on. COINTELPRO is still alive. It's still working. It's more mental now than physical, but it's still physical because it's still overwhelmingly black in the prison system. So there's the physical. And it's mental in the schools, in the doctor's offices, at the jobs. It's everywhere. All right. Next piece of news comes from Yahoo Finance. Mark Zuckerberg is the latest billionaire to leave California. Remember I said that earlier. So this is the rest of them that left. Larry Ellison, he went to Hawaii. Larry Page, he bought houses in Florida and New Zealand. Peter Thiel went to Florida. Sergey Brin bought a house in Florida and Nevada. And then Zuckerberg went to Florida, y'all. They don't want to pay that billionaire tax. I'm not a billionaire and I don't like paying these California taxes. So damn ridiculous, y'all. Meta's rolling out new features on Facebook powered by Meta AI. Oh, Elon Musk, y'all. This is from Yahoo Finance. XAI co-founder Tony Wu announced today that he will be departing from Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company. This makes him the fourth co-founder out of 12 to exit in 1 year. I wonder, is that because they're combining XAI and SpaceX? I wonder if that has anything to do with it. But that's a lot, though. The fourth co-founder to leave? Or maybe he ran the bag up and he's trying to do his own thing. I don't know. We'll see. But it's a private company right now, so we don't know the value of it based on those people leaving. All right, next piece of news comes from Wall Street Journal Business News. OpenAI fired executive Ryan Berrymeister, probably said that wrong, in January, citing sexual discrimination after she opposed the planned AI erotica feature in ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is trying to have a feature, an AI erotica feature. So basically, they trying to compete with Grok, because Grok is kind of crazy, y'all. You tell Grok to do what is that? What is it called? I forget what it's called. But you push one button on Grok, and it's erotic. It'll make the bra get naked. You create an AI bra, you push that button, she finna get naked, y'all. So OpenAI, they trying to compete with that. They're like, man, Grok, you taking too many users. We're gonna have to do the same thing. So look out for that, y'all, with ChatGPT. All right. Let me run the numbers, y'all. Nvidia up over 1%. Google's down over 0.5%. Apple is up almost 1%. Microsoft is down 1.5%. Amazon is down 0.5%. TSM is up 4%, y'all. That thing's still running. Let me move this all-time high up here. Yes, sir. TSM all-time high. 379.58, y'all. AVGO down almost 0.5% at 339. Meta is down over 0.5%. Tesla is up 0.5% at 427.50. Berkshire B barely under break even. And Walmart is up 1%, y'all. Let's check out the heat map. See what we got. All right. Down here at the bottom, technology services. I see a lot of red down here. But up here, electronic technology, I see a lot of green. All right, retail, I see a lot of gray. Finance, I see mostly red. Producer manufacturing, I see a lot of green. Healthcare, I see a lot of gray and a lot of red. Energy, I see a lot of green. Let's check out the sectors. All right, the sectors, the strongest sector for today so far, XLE is up 1.63%, followed by XLB at 1.25%. And the laggards for today are XLC, which is down 0.5%, and XLF down 0.63%. All right. Let's check out some Instagram's motivation. You know, I can't find that one. I don't know what happened to it.
The discriminator in public equities is not the percentage, ladies and gentlemen. It's the principal capital. How then do we overcome that discrimination of principal capital. We can only do so through collaboration. We can only do so through pooling our capital. Well, in order to pool our capital, we need to lead with trust and transparency. How many of us feel as though we can trust our brothers and sisters, even in our own families? And that's the reason why you see in many other cultures this concept of the family office. Because it ain't my money. It ain't baby sister's money. It ain't dad's money. It's all the same money. Why? Because the principal determines the profit. If all I got is 50, but baby sister got 50 and dad got 50, and we know that the percentage return is non-discriminatory, well, we can pool our capital so that we can participate with larger principal capital for the larger profit. The discriminator and
That was Ryan Leslie on stage with 19 keys, y'all. Check it out.
I'm going to explain why your salary is calculated so perfectly. Companies used to pay workers well because a thriving middle class with disposable income was good for the overall economy. People bought houses, cars, products, and everyone won. But things took a wild turn. At some point, corporations ran the numbers and realized they could pay you just enough to survive, but never enough to escape. Just enough to make rent, but not save. Just enough to eat, but not invest. Just enough to keep showing up, but never enough to quit. It's not random. It's mathematical precision. They need you dependent on that paycheck. If you get too comfortable, you might leave, might start competing, might build something. So they keep you in the stress zone, paycheck to paycheck, one emergency away from catastrophe. And here's the part that'll make you sick. They call it wage optimization. They've studied exactly how little they can pay before you break and leave, and they pay right above that line. And anybody who understands capitalism knows corporations don't see you as human. They see you as a resource to extract maximum value from at minimum cost. You're not failing, you're being managed. We may not see each other again, so make sure to follow this page.
Ooh, he was dropping the gym right there, y'all. That was deep. That was deep right there, y'all.
Every morning, everyone should speak these 5 affirmations, all right? I am the best. I can do it alone. God is always with me. I am a winner. Today is my day. Every morning, everyone should speak these 5 affirmations, all right? I am the best. I can do it alone. God is always with me. I am a winner. Today is my day.
All right, that's it, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Actually, let's check out the daily chart on our $1 trillion tickers and see if we are breaking any levels or any trend lines. Okay, so looks like Nvidia is still trying to break out of this consolidation area. Let me see. Yeah, Nvidia been consolidating really since after the split. It really hasn't been moving nowhere. Like slightly, but the run that crazy run is definitely slowed down. It looks like it's been consolidating since September. It did break out for about a week in November, in late October, November, and then it came right back in. Came out for a day, came back in. So it's basically been consolidating between 170 and 195 since September. Now the current price is 190. So if we can get a strong break out of this consolidation area, we can get a strong break and close above 195, really above 196, because this candle right here, if we can get a strong break above 196 and close on a daily, then maybe we can break out of this consolidation zone. But it's definitely been consolidating since September, y'all. All right, let's check out Google. Google on a daily chart. Let's see. Google is headed toward it just broke underneath the opening price for this year. So Google is red on the year, barely, but it is heading toward our trend line of support, which is going to be around 310. So it may bounce at that level. We'll see. But I also have a weekly level here at 307. It has been falling since it hit an all-time high February 3rd. So it's probably just people taking profits. They hit all-time highs, so they taking profits. No biggie. All right, next is Apple. Let's check out Apple on a daily, y'all. So it did break our daily resistance trend line here. Very strong break on Monday, February 2nd. And it's now consolidating again here. It's looking like the opening price of the year, 272, that it has found some support there. So if it does end up breaking that to the downside, I do have it going to 266. And then if it ends up breaking that, I got it going to 258. But if it uses this as support, then all it needs to do is break this previous high, which is 280. And then it can head right back up to all-time highs. All right, Microsoft. Okay, so we got this gap down on Microsoft here on the daily. That happened after earnings. And then it fell to 392. It's down today, though. It's down today over 2%. So it's at 404. Microsoft is still a great buy. This is the software that Dan Ives was talking about earlier, one of the software kings as far as AI. So definitely a great buy on Microsoft right now. Let me actually see what percent off we are. 26% off. Basically 26.9% off the all-time high. Good time for Microsoft Leap. I think so. This is a huge discount. On the fourth most valuable company in the world. Being able to buy this at 26% off. Yeah. I like a leap. On Microsoft. Now, I don't know if it's going to continue to fall, but we just had this lower low here on February 5th. So as long as it doesn't break that, then this next low will be a higher low. So as far as market structure, as long as it doesn't break this 392, then we are either chopping or headed back to the upside. And then, but it got a long way to go. Before I'm bullish on Microsoft. Maybe you just want to buy some shares to take away the time decay before it can get bullish again. And remember, we are in February. This is normally a red month for the market, especially technology. They are paying dividends on February 19th, 91 cents a share. All right, next, Amazon. Let's see. Amazon missed on earnings, gap down. On Friday, it had dropped to a low of $200. Right now it's $205. It's not looking good for Amazon, y'all. It tried to go into the gap twice, but it rejected the gap. It looks like exactly at my weekly level here at 213. It rejected on Monday, it rejected on Tuesday, and now it's headed back to the downside. So I'm bearish on Amazon for right now. Well, in the long term, I'm definitely bullish, but in the short term, I'm definitely bearish on Amazon. All right, let's see what type of discount we have right now. Amazon is 20% off, y'all. Amazon is 20% off. The fifth most valuable company in the world is 20% off right now. So if you want to buy it, you're getting a good discount on Amazon. All right, next, TSM. Look at this gap up, y'all. Get this gap up on TSM. What they say? We're not doing no tariffs on TSM. Is that what they said? So that thing been running. So it broke out of this consolidation. Remember, it was consolidating here from January 16th. Well, really, let me move this back. It was consolidating since January 6th all the way. It consolidated for a month, basically, before it finally broke out. So, yeah, that's what happened with TSM, and it just hit all-time highs today. So, shout out TSM, y'all. All right, AVGO on the daily. So it did break out of our resistance diagonal trend line here. It broke out with strength, but then it hit our weekly level here at 352.10, and it rejected very strongly. And then it broke our 340 weekly level, so it looks like it may be headed back down, y'all. Because it did not, as far as market structure, it did not break this. This is pretty much an equal high here from January 2nd and January 13th. This double top. So in order for me to be bullish on AVGO, I needed to break over 360. Break and retest 360. So right now it's at 335. So I won't be bullish in the short term until it breaks 360. Break and retest. But right now, it's looking bearish, y'all. It was a hard reject from 352. And it's probably headed back down to 320. But they do have earnings on March 4th. So that's a few weeks from now. We'll see. All right, so that's what I got on AVGO. Meta on the daily. Let's see what we got. Meta. So Meta had a great earnings. It popped for one day, and then it fell 4 days straight. And now it's consolidating right now. It actually is trying to find some support at the opening price of the year, which is 662. So we'll see if that happens. If it does break that, I do have it coming down to 646 before trying to find some more support there. If it breaks this 646, I got it coming down to the gap right here of 625. The gap will be filled at 618. And then I have our diagonal support trend line in that area as well. So Meta is looking pretty weak right now. I don't got no upside on Meta until it breaks our diagonal resistance trend line and also gets back over this area where it had ran up after earnings. So yeah, Meta got a long way to go before I'm bullish in the short term. Tesla after hitting an all-time high on December 22nd, it's been in a downfall. People just taking profits. It did have a very nice bounce here on February 5th. But it did not break. It did not break this 439, so that is a problem. So I'm not bullish on Tesla until it breaks 440. And then after that, it gotta break this 454, y'all. So it may chop for a little while. But as far as support, I got some support here at 416, followed by 400. Resistance, I got some resistance here at 437 and 450. All right, Berkshire B. Looks like it's back in the chop zone. Go ahead and draw that on there. All right, looks like some consolidation here on Berkshire since September. It's been trading in between 473 and 509. It's just been chopping. It broke out for a day or so, came right back in. It did have a nice bounce though a couple weeks ago. A very nice bounce at the bottom of the consolidation zone. But I do need it to break and retest this 509 before I'm bullish on Berkshire because it's back in the zone. And Walmart just hit an all-time high on Monday, so it looked like it might be printing a bull flag right now. But that's what I see on Walmart. All right, so that's it, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh, also, Walmart has earnings next Thursday, February 19th. Walmart has earnings. All right, so that's it, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the show. $1 Trillion Tickers. I'm your host, Matt Riches. So you can, we'll be back tomorrow live, 6:15 a.m. for the pre-market briefing. And we'll be here for market open, and I will be giving the breaking news, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom.